In 2017, at 60 years old, Carol Van Den Engel and Glenn Green, along with 250 pounds of gear and a canoe, began their journey across Canada from Ottawa, Ontario. Over 3 paddle seasons and 8,500 kilometers, they accomplished their goal.
Well, we've been canoeing since we were children, but mostly the two of us have been paddling for the last 20 years, something like that. So when we retired, we really decided to make canoeing, which is our passion, forefront. So that's basically why we decided to paddle across Canada.
It's a way to decompress, to relax, to travel at a slow pace. And being Canadian, it's part of our heritage. And what better way to take in the scenery than from the water?
Carol always considered her diet healthy, but she became quite ill in her 30s. With the help of a practitioner of functional medicine, her diet changed to only fresh foods and whole grains. Her health returned, and she was convinced the result was her diet. They decided on their trip they would raise awareness about access to fresh, healthy food by supporting a local charity, Loving Spoonful.
If food makes such a difference in your health, everyone should have the right to fresh, healthy food, fresh, healthy, local food. And it's quite expensive, and Loving Spoonful is an organization that teaches people how to plan for their gardens, how to grow gardens, how to harvest the food, and how to cook with that food. And they do that through their school programs, community gardens, and their community kitchens. And it's just an amazing organization.
The second year included a train ride with all their gear to Vancouver, a 400-kilometer trek through the Rocky Mountains, and then paddles and walks to Fort Frances in northern Ontario. Throughout their journey, they spread the word of food insecurity.
Well, I think people saw our canoe, and it was an expedition canoe, and it looked like we were out for the long term. So people were curious, and they would ask us, like, what's your journey? So we would tell them, and then on the front of the canoe, on the bow of the canoe, is written "A Canoe for Change." So it's an unusual thing to call your boat, and that was the headway into sparking a conversation, because everybody asked that, and then we would tell them why we called our canoe for change.
People along our journey, they truly wanted to be part of our journey. And they would track us down and bring us fresh food, ask us if we needed anything. And this happened while we were walking, doing our portaging, and also on the water. People would approach us and say, "Are you guys the paddlers?" And we guess, yeah, I guess we are.
Yeah.
And it's funny how we're just travels.
The third and final season, they headed back to Fort Frances and returned home to Kingston, Ontario, along the Rideau Canal. For all their journeys, they had to be self-sufficient. Their food was dehydrated and vacuum sealed, and all gear, including a tent and blow-up mattress, had to be the very lightest possible. They kept in touch with family and friends through cell coverage when they had it, social media, and a spotting device that enabled them to track their route, and that route was visible on their website.
We had a remarkable home team that were with us every step of the journey. They wanted to be part of the journey, but they were doing it from home, but they were really involved. And our one daughter, Rachel, she did our website. She did our posts for us to help bring awareness to food insecurity and Loving Spoonful. We had an elderly aunt and uncle who took it upon themselves to track us, give us stats, forewarn us by looking at Google Earth any obstacles that we may be approaching. Mentally preparing for this journey, I think our preparation was we prepared as best we could given the situation that we knew we would encounter, and then if something happened on the way, we just have to use our common sense and work out our problem,
Right.
and get over the situation.
And I think that's all part of the adventure, is not knowing what lies ahead. We never knew where we were going to camp at night. We never knew, who we were going to meet. We never knew where we were going to camp in the downtown core of Montreal. It was just exciting to live one day to the next. And I went to bed at night and I couldn't wait to get up the next morning to start another day. It was just so full of adventure, and meeting the people was just amazing.
For WPBS Weekly, I'm Gail Paquette.